And so, the listening kind of wears off and leaves in its wake a void, a kind of a missing. Times when we come together is an antidote to that missing, because there is a certain oneness even in the people present. Everybody wants the same thing: breakfast. Everybody wants moksha. Freedom from this missing is called moksha. Everybody wants that. There is a singleness of purpose, letting go of the missing, letting go of the wanting that fills up the missing and makes me relentlessly sad and afraid, anxious for no reason. One lady told me, "I'm really frightened." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because everything is going very, very well. There is no problem." I said, "What's the problem?" She said, "No problem at all. But I'm still afraid, because what if something goes wrong?" Something will always go wrong. But I don't have to go wrong along with it. This is Vedanta. This is what has to be understood and internalized without a shadow of doubt. And when the ears are worn out of a certain kind of a shallow listening in which we have gained some expertise thanks to the pandemic and thanks to online classes, etc., it has become a habit of feeling, I already know, I don't need to understand. Some people think like that. Some thoughts come like that. Other thoughts are as follows: I'll never know, so what's the use? Either way, you see, we are missing. We are missing out on the knowledge, because one side, the feeling is, been there, done that, I already know, so there. And on the other side, what is the thing? How many people get moksha in the world? Look around. And all these people have been studying Vedanta for such a long time. Look at how they behave. Look at how they do this. And if they all could not get moksha, I don't stand a chance. Therefore what? I already signed up for the retreat. So I'll just go there and just go through the motions of listening, nod my head once in a while, and show a few signs of life. Now, who is missing is you, okay? You are missing in action, and the person who thinks like this is the one missing out. So these are tendencies on two ends of the continuum that make this a difficult prospect. The not listening becomes a kind of a habit, an orientation, so to speak. And therefore, the immersion is important. What is this immersion? Just like a gulab jamun, which is a ball of calories for those who don't know what it is. Okay? Ball of calories suspended in 3-string sugar syrup, meaning thick sugar syrup. Some kind of a fried ball suspended in sugar syrup. These fried balls are just like the jivas, the individuals, frying in the hot oil of what we call samsara. If they had a human mind, they would cry out, Trahimam, Pahimam, help me, save me. And then their prayer is heard. The slotted spoon, the spoon with holes. Holy spoon, holy guru. Dares to go in the oil does not touch the holy spoon. Why? Insulated. Has identified with a different I, of which different than what these balls are thinking they are. Therefore, untouched by the hot oil, rescues all of them. And they are very happy. Some punya worked overtime to bring them out. Fantastic. He. And what does the spoon do? It takes it from the oil and puts it in this wonderful, cool sugar syrup bath. A sugar syrup flavored with cardamom, rose essence. That's where the word gulab comes. Rose essence and saffron. In the beginning, these jamuns, jivas, both start with J, are extremely restless. They are jumping, bobbing up and down, and they are saying, let me out, let me out. I'm just in this. I wanted to be saved, but I wanted to see the world. I wanted to go on a holiday. I wanted to do something. I wanted to go to Svarga. I wanted to have, what is Svarga means what in English? Heaven. I wanted to go. We have 7 of them, don't worry. I mean, it's just not one heaven. Bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha. Even this earthly plane is a kind of a heaven. Suvaha, mahaha, janaha, tapaha, satyam. Some of the balls wanted to go to heaven. Some of them wanted to do something else. But here they found themselves grabbed in a cohort and put in this vat of sugar syrup. And the lid was closed. This is called 3-year course. Left to marinate. And if you try to eat the gulab jamun soon after it is dipped, it's so disgusting. As a child, I remember having done that because I couldn't wait till it would so. I was like, oh, I want to eat it now. And it was so boring, so bland, really, not very appealing at all. But by the next morning, trapped in the sugar syrup, all of them have absorbed it and sunk down, sunk. This is immersion. And then what? You cannot tell. And some of them fall apart. Jivan Mukti. You can't tell the difference between the syrup and the ball that has been immersed in it. This is how one, quote unquote, becomes one with the knowledge. This is how one has to, this enforced immersion. But why can't it be willing immersion? Because at some level or the other, there is a silent block. There is fear. There is resistance. Maybe I'm not ready for moksha, because the concept of moksha not being clear, one starts to buy into certain notions of what freedom is like. There are many myths, moksha myths. What are moksha myths? Moksha myth number 1 If I have moksha, then I have to not have any friends. I have to go far away from everything. No friends I can have. This is myth number one. Because the Bhagavad Gita contradicts this myth in several chapters and several places. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karunaha evacha. Maitra means friend, the one who is a friend to all. Okay, so that myth has gone. And many other quotations we can give, but one is enough. So if I'm truly free, free means liberated from the notion that I am a sad, fearful, finite individual, then some terrible things will happen. First one is what? I can't have any friends. I have to be alone. And therefore I will be lonely. Vedanta is not the knowledge of loneliness. It's the knowledge of onlyness. Kevala, only. Kaivalya Upanishad, Kaivalya, onlyness. That there is one and one thing only. And my vision is revolutionized to see that everything is me alone, an extension of myself alone. That is moksha. So, that myth is gone. And many such myths are there. Another myth. I think the word myth has come from mithya only. Must have. We will pretend it has. So, another myth. What is the second myth? If I understand the truth of myself fully and I start living it, then I can't have nice things. I'm supposed to give up everything. First it was giving up friends, meaning animate chetana, animate beings. Then this extends to objects, jada as well. So first myth had to do with my relationship to other jivas, and this myth has to do with my relationship to the jagat, the world, the insentient world of objects, things. So I can't have nice things. I have to give up everything. Giving up something is a lifestyle that is recommended for the pursuit. It is not the goal. And when the end is mixed up with the means, when one cannot tell the difference between the ends and the means, between the goal and the sadhana, or the lifestyle, a committed lifestyle to gaining this knowledge. If I can't tell the difference between the goal and the means, I keep going goal, means round and round, aimlessly. A committed lifestyle is given to gain this vision and to understand the truth of myself. But for a person who has mukti, another way of saying moksha, there are no rules. Ko vidhihi, ko nishedhaha. This is the refrain in the famous Shukashtakam, an octet composed in praise of Lord Shuka, the son of Vyasa, who left home when he was not even 5 years old. He was about to turn 5 and he started to walk away. First the mother thought it's cute. Oh, he's walking so cute, he's pretending to leave us. He never came back. The parents ran after him and said, "You are too small. You can't survive in the world." He said, "Why should I come back? You're too small. You need us." And he looked them up and down. "Really? I need you?" Then they changed the tone and said, "We need you. Don't leave us." Not for, not for us, not for you, for us, stay for us. And then he said, "No, actually nobody needs anybody. But since you have given birth to me and you've done so much for me and taken care of me, you call me and I will just fly in. I'll just come in." "Oh, which airline are you going to take?" "You'll fly in" means what? That's why he's called Shuka. Took the form of a parrot for, quick access to the parents. And Vyasa thought of him a few times, and each time he appeared, he kept his promise. Praising this Shuka, the Shukashtakam says, for the person of this knowledge, for the person who is liberated, ko vidhihi. Vidhi means injunctions. Do this, do that, and then nishedha. Nishedha means what? Prohibitions. Prescriptions and prohibitions make up the entire life. And if there are going to be prohibitions after moksha, then who will want moksha, tell me? And then secondly, why will it be called moksha? Moksha means freedom, and that includes freedom from prohibitions and restrictions and prescriptions. If that is, if after gaining moksha there are rules, how the jnani should conduct himself, herself, then nobody will want this knowledge, and nobody will want the end portion of this knowledge, which is the phala of this knowledge, the fruit of this knowledge, which is liberation. This is something we have to understand. So the second myth, first I'll be alienated from everyone, I won't have friends, and then I'll have to give up everybody, or everybody will give up on me. Here goes a weird fellow, and what is wrong with this person? And the second myth is what? Yeah, all the things will go away from me, or I have to go away from them. That is also not true. Then the third myth also has to do with the Jagat. And this, in every retreat, I get this asked at least once. And what is that? If everyone got moksha, it's a very big if, Yeah. If everyone got moksha, then what will happen to the world? Oh, the Jagat will suffer. How will it suffer? I'd like to know. No, it will suffer. What will happen to progress? Everybody will sit down like this. Because the person of moksha doesn't do anything. Because, why? The Shastra itself says. What does the Shastra say? The Shastra says that once you gain this, there is nothing more to gain. And so everybody loses interest. Oh no, what will happen to scientific progress? What will happen to inventions? This is Purva Paksha, okay? This is not the answer, this is the question. What will happen to the state of the world? The answer to this is in understanding properly what moksha is. Moksha is not disinterested. being disinterested in the world. Although that is again a sadhana, a certain level of vairagya, a cultivated disinterest in anything other than the knowledge, is prescribed as a means to train the mind, to train the sense organs, to train the buddhi, to focus it like a blade of grass. Munjam ishikat iva drishya vargat pratyancham atmanam anantam avyayam. The Mundakopanishad says, like the munja grass, you see, you peel the grass and the blade, the shoot is there, and that shoot is used in certain rituals. It's called munja. We have certain holy grasses, munja, and wearing that over the left shoulder, that ceremony is called munji, initiation into the Vedic mantras for a young child, a rite of passage, a samskara. Then we have darbha, another holy grass, kusha, another grass, like this. These are all names of the grasses, Vedic grasses. So, the Mundakopanishad takes the example of the munja grass. You peel the outer covering and the shoot of grass comes out, which is what you need. The outer covering is not used in the ritual, it is gently thrown away. And this is put and used. So likewise, peel the outer covering of the drishya varga. Drishya varga means group of objects and that are seen, eaten, touched, heard, enjoyed. So these means of enjoyment, you peel them off from the world of objects as a discipline to really see what is it that I have been missing. Because what I have been missing has not really gone. What I have been missing is right there, but it is mixed up with everything else. And what is this everything else? All the things that I am pursuing because of the missing. The missing makes me addicted to so many things. And each thing I think is the thing, and then it turns out to be no thing. What is no thing? Nothing. And so, coming to the question of the Jagat, coming to a standstill if everybody gets moksha, we have to look at two things. One is, we have to see where these so-called inventions and progress, where has it gotten us? Smartphones, blue light, devices, desires, addictions. Nobody knows even how to have a restful sleep. In fact, now we have to talk about a concept which we had never even understood 10-15 years back, called sleep hygiene. Oh, sleep hygiene means have to take a shower before sleeping. No, sleep hygiene means removing all kinds of things that will be in the way of sleeping. Do not keep the phone next to the bed. Tip 1 of sleep hygiene. Like this, do not look at it in the middle of the night with one eye like that. As though one is a crow. The crow always looks like this, or like this. Many birds do. And you know what? They have a saying in Sanskrit that the crow only has one eyeball. This is the belief. It's called kakadrishti. Kakadrishti means the crow's vision. And so when it looks like this, it's dropping the eyeball to one side of the head. Just a belief, okay? And then when it wants to look like that, it drops the eyeball to the other side of the head. Sleep hygiene. We never even knew what this word meant. And when I first encountered it, I said, what does it mean? Sleep hygiene means what? Changing the sheets often, that's what I thought. No. Sleep hygiene means not having anything that will disturb. No pinging, dinging things throughout the night. And nothing that you're tempted to look. And then you get angry because there's an email. You get angry because, what is that called? Facebook. Yeah. Facebook. Somebody said something. Yeah. Book of the face. This is sleep hygiene. What is this? This is progress? And then nobody can sleep without noise. Because we are used to noise, now there are 20 different noises. I went to a hotel and then, there was a clock like this. And I wanted to set the alarm for the next morning because I had to get up to go to some conference. They were going to pick me up from the hotel. So, but I didn't know how to operate. And suddenly, I got scared. What is this? White noise. Even noise has color. Noise also has color. First time I'm hearing white noise. And then another one. It was there. How was that? I'll try to say. I would go crazy trying to sleep through that. Then I read what it meant. And there it said, crickets in a summer night. I would take the crickets any day rather than the metallic crickets, ersatz crickets. You call this progress? That you can't sleep without that we have, as a civilization, reached a place where we cannot sleep without some kind of noise? White noise, yellow noise, this noise, that noise, crickets, and there was also other things. Gentle rain. And if gentle rain is not your cup of tea, heavy downpour. Another thing. People think I sit here and make stuff up. That's true. Sometimes I do. Not all the time though. Gentle rain, heavy downpour, and then bullfrogs. Like this. It is like sleeping, going camping and sleeping. It is not, okay? Because you know you are not camping. So, I don't call this progress. I think our ancestors had a much better time. They rose with the sun. They went to sleep again with the sun. And then if anybody at that time had thought of that, what is that called? The happiness index. What is that called? Where Bhutan came first for many years in a row. The happiness index. So if the happiness index, if anybody had thought of that at that time, their happiness index, I think, would be much better than ours. In many ways. Not in the ways of convenience and going places. It depends on what you're pursuing. If the pursuits are artha and kama, artha, security, kama, any other kind of things that make me happy. If the artha and kama are the primary pursuits, and if that alone I am geared towards, then you know what happens? then I will love what I see now. Everything is zip, 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 quick, quick, quick. So I can pursue more and more and more and more and more. I can know more and more and more and more and more of less and less and less and less and less. This is what it is. I know a whole lot of what? Nothing. And so if artha and kama are the goals, the modern life is the best, east or west, the contemporary life. Because you can just do things in a trice. All the gadgets are getting ubiquitous, smaller and smaller and smaller. You can just compare the first computer that came out, even the household computer. And now you can do everything on 1/10 the size of that behemoth. So if artha and kama are the pursuits, then this jagat in its current iteration that we find ourselves is truly progress, because I can pursue more artha, more security, more accomplishments. More accomplishments is equal to more security. I can pursue all that. No problem at all. I can do that very, very, very quickly. But then there is this downside. What is the downside? We already began with the downside. Missing. I miss myself. I miss other people. I miss Ishvara. Who are you? Kidrishosi Mahadeva. Who are you? What do you look like? Where are you? Kutra asi? Where are you? I miss Ishvara. I miss the Jagat. I miss myself. No time for myself. Even the vacation is stressful because you have to work hard. You work, and then get what? You work for 5 days or 6 days, get 1 day off. Work. Whole year, get 2 weeks off. If you're lucky, 3. If you're really lucky, 4. But that doesn't happen all the time. When you work for the whole life, to take the rest of the life off. It could be a nice concept. But by that time, one is addicted to doing. An addiction that goes hand in hand with not knowing who I am. The addiction to doing is what makes me prone to the middle 2 purusharthas, the middle 2 pursuits, which are what? Artha, security, kama, all kinds of things that I think will make me happy. And then what? Then again I have to miss, and then I have to look for moksha, and then come back. Come back to myself. Have a U-turn, coming back. And so, the third myth that moksha is going to put a stop to progress, scientific and otherwise, has also to be busted in this twofold manner. First is, what do we call progress and where has it led us? Second part of this, to understand this and to debunk this myth, is to see, is to take an honest look at all our doings. What is it that I do? Oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a carpenter, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, I'm a computer programmer. So many answers can come. I do this, I do that, and this is what I do. So many answers are there. Then you ask the question, why do you do this? Oh, I wish I didn't have to do, but I have to do this to make a living, to be able to afford a vacation, to be able to feed my family. There is a sense, a notion of bondage in the doing. And really speaking, when I say I am pursuing artha, security, that itself is a wrong notion. It's based on the wrong notion that I must be insecure. That's why I have to pursue security. I must be insecure. That's the fundamental belief. The fundamental, this thing is, I am insecure, you are insecure, everyone is insecure. Okay, come one, let's all go. Come one, come all. Let's become secure. Through what? Through all these doings, because that's what I have at my behest. That's what I have to spare. I have some... The way of engaging in the world is through knowing and doing. Knowing what? Everything else other than myself. Aparavidya, it is called. And so, in this engagement, I'm trying to produce security. So, my doing is not free. I'm trying to produce happiness, which is again based on the wrong notion that I must be a deeply unhappy person. Why is this a wrong notion? All you have to do is go to sleep. And I'll even be very generous and give you a choice in the Vedanta class or outside the Vedanta class. Wherever you want, you go to sleep. And what will you find? No problems at all. No insecurity in sleep. No unhappiness in sleep. This vyabhichara means what? Contradiction. Has to make us think. That which I am in search of, namely security and happiness, where are they? If they are in the world, how come I have not found them? And how come all the people in the world also haven't found them? And perhaps a more important question is, how come I keep looking in the wrong place all the time? This is a question we have to ask. Wrong place. Like the grandma who lost her needle. Embroidery needle she lost. Oh, I can't see, I lost my needle. Soon a small crowd formed, helpful people. Searched, couldn't find. Then one person said, who was wiser than the rest, after looking for it for half an hour, said, what did they say? Where did you lose it? Back in my house. Why are we looking for it in the village square? Why? The only light in the village is right here. It's a well-lit place. My house is very dark. Looking for it in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong things. And so, if arthakama are the pursuits, then we will go for the bling, the glam. What is glam? Glamour. All things, the glitter, the glamour, the shiny things, they will attract. The ancient Upanishads call such people balaha. What does that mean? Children. You give it a noisy and shiny thing, like a rattle, silver, ding, 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 noisy thing. And then it will drop whatever it has. You give it Bhagavad Gita book and then shake this thing. It will throw the book and catch hold of that. The Upanishad says, we who look for this alone are balaha. There is a way, some kind of a maturity an inner maturing, a spiritual growth, an emotional development into adulthood has not quite taken place. And so imagine if I were free. Each one can think like this. Each one can visualize. If I were really free, what would I do? Not from the place of wanting to be famous, wanting to be secure, wanting to be validated, wanting to be loved, wanting to not be alone, wanting to take revenge on some other people, wanting to make a statement. If those wants were not there, and if I were truly, fully free of those wants, what is it that I would do? What is it that I could do? In fact, the question is better asked, what is it that I could not do? Answer is nothing. You could do anything that you want because there is no bondage in doing. Right now, the free will that takes one to do things, that is the precursor of action, is the free will. The so-called free will, Pujya Swamiji used to always say, is bound. Is bound in the notions that I am insecure and something needs to be done, is bound in the notions I am not okay, I need validation, is bound up, hung up in the notion that I want this, I want that, I will not be okay, I have to have this. All the doing is a frenetic, frantic series of actions by the individual and collectives, groups of individuals. Equally frenzied, equally there is an urgency. It's like life depended on it. We have forgotten how to relax. We have forgotten how to just be. We have forgotten how to be moved. We have had to shut out a large portion of our hearts just to be alive and just to participate in the rat race. Catch and kill, catch and kill, catch and kill mentality. Catch, kill, eat. Why? Because that's what we have done in the past lives of being born as beasts, beasts of prey. And that same samskara, what's the meaning of samskara? Samskar or the other. The same samskara continues. Adi Shankara calls this prakrita buddhi, just like nature made. And the refinement of that, the process of refining which I undergo through choosing a spiritual evolution and emotional growth, is called samskrita buddhi. It's not a buddhi that knows Sanskrit, okay? Samskrita buddhi. It is a buddhi that has withdrawn from catch, kill, eat, sleep mentality. It's a buddhi that is turned towards looking at its latent glory, that is committed towards discovering its latent glory, rather than facing outwards and chasing after every single thing that it finds, because it is convinced that it is truly inglorious. This is the difference. If I think I am inglorious, then my actions will be very, very different. All the actions will be trying to make myself glorious, whereas if I know I am glorious, then my actions will not have that pressure. Shaknoti ihaiva yas sodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. Even on the relative plane, the Bhagavad Gita says, the key to being a happy person is to be able to let go and to be able to overcome, transcend, if you will, the pressure created by the desires. It's not the desire that is wrong. It's not the desire to progress that is wrong. It's the pressure-filled desire. Thinking that if I don't do this, nobody will approve of me. So these kinds of dysfunctional notions and thoughts become the mainstay of my very being, my very thinking, my very actions. So the free will is not really free. A very long answer to the question, what would happen if everybody got moksha? If everybody got moksha, then the world would be a much freer place. One would do because it helped somebody else. One would do because one actually liked to do something, not because of a pressure. So that myth also, if I get moksha, then the world will come to a standstill. That also is what? Busted. Busted. Correct word, right? Busted, yes. Yeah. So then, what's your excuse? No excuse. There is really no excuse not to study. There is no excuse not to have an immersive experience. There is no excuse to not listen carefully, properly, as though one's entire life depended on it, because, believe me, it does. The quality of the listening is important. I make the class into a samadhi. The whole 1 hour is like a meditation where everything, the sense organs, the organs of action, focused on the words coming from the Shastra, handled by the teacher. Then you allow yourself to transform. Otherwise, there are many noises. Who came? Who went? Why aren't the lights on? Why are they on? Why aren't they on? These all things, one can focus on those things. But that's not fun. What is fun is to focus on that which has been neglected for so long. And that object of neglect is actually the subject, which is equated to the cause of the universe. That's why it's no more useful to be negligent of this I, Brahman, Ishvara. And so when I make this Shravanam into a meditation, when I'm able to allow the walls that I have built because of fear, because of resistance, blocks, distrust, when I allow the walls to drop through when the words are able to go through the walls, letting the walls drop, that's when the transformation takes place. We talk of 4 kinds of blessings, grace, anugraha. One is Daivanugraha, Bhagavan's grace. And what is Bhagavan's grace? That which has brought us all here together is Bhagavan's grace. That you are here, that I am here, that we are able to talk to each other, that we are able to commence this journey is because of Punya, Bhagavan's grace. Then we talk about the grace of the Shastra. You can open the pages of the Shastra, but the words have to open themselves unto you. You can read the words, but the words have to pour into you and remove all the clogs. In India, we have one solution called, what is that called? Drano. Here also we have? Yeah. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. So sometimes, food, particles, and what is that called? The hair, etc., will have blocked the drain. You pour and you wait 15 minutes and then it's gurgling, it's free. And so I have to allow the Shastra itself. I don't need to buy Drano, and what is the Drano for the head and the heart? You don't have to think. Shastra itself is a Drano, if I allow it. It will remove all the blocks. I just have to be present and ready. This is called allowing the Shastra to do this. The fact that the Shastra does this, and I have Shraddha towards the Shastra, reverence, is called the Shastranugraha. The Shastra opens itself to me. Then we call Guru's grace, Guru Prapti, the gain of the teacher. And that I am able to study from the teacher. As the prayer says, Ma vidvishavahai, without the baggage of projections and transference. That itself is a grace. But then, all these graces are latent and inactive if the last grace is not there. What is that? Atmanugraha, the grace of permitting myself to be able to enjoy this and to be able to open to this knowledge. No matter how much I have listened, no matter how many notions I have, and no matter how much I think I am right. And so, this is the fourfold grace. This is what it's going to take. The last grace, Atmanugraha, the grace that I afford to myself to rewrite the wrong stories about myself, is the master key that's going to open the floodgates of the first three graces. It's like you can take the horse to the water, but what? Can't make it to drink. You can't make it drink. It has to desire to drink. And that pipasa, the desire to drink, must be there, of the nectar of the Upanishads. And so, in the next session, which I believe starts at 11:15, we will be looking at the text called, what is it called? Dindima, Vedanta Dindima. And so it has 94 or 95 verses, and don't get worried how in 9 days we will do 95 verses. We will do a selection of them, selection of some key verses to be able to understand the gist of the whole thing. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. That's it.